I don't like fudge.
Really? I never met a chocolate I didn't like. It's not just a matter of taste. It's the whole experience. First of all, you have to spoon the fudge around the rim, leaving only the ice cream in the middle. Then, you gently spoon the ice cream around the sides, like you're sculpting it. Relish every bite. Make every one an event. And then, with the last spoonful, close your eyes.
I had no idea it was such a ritual.
Chocolate is a serious thing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are both Star Trek veterans, and Dory is a rookie Trekkie, and we are taking her on our first journey through Star Trek: The Next Generation. Today we're discussing the Season 5 episode, The Game.
That you all lost?
Yes, I'm very sorry.
I'm not.
Original air date is October 26th, 1991, and we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay, so we start off, and I wrote, Riker is playing the horny version of Marco Polo with a redhead alien named Itana. And I first wrote, is this the holodeck? It is not. It is Ryza. So, hey, Ryza.
Yeah.
So, okay, gotta mention, honorable mention, Itana is wearing this really great halter dress.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan. And Riker is wearing blue robe, also big fan. So he's like chasing her around the room for his like communicators. Like, this is wild.
Mm-hmm.
But not actually. This is very corny.
Not gonna lie, this stuff totally fucking happens. Like, I have been in situations this dumb with girlfriends.
Yeah,
Oh, it happens,
hair.
but just like when you're not part of it, it's very silly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, So, okay, I gotta mention, Itana's hair is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It is so beautiful. I was like, how fucking dare you? Okay, anyways, okay. So then he catches her, and then she's like, oh, you gotta play this. You gotta do this game. Everyone's playing it. So it basically looks like a wire headset.
Mm-hmm.
And we see the most questionable graphics come on the screen of basically, okay, I wrote two different ways of describing this. Okay, so it's basically like a chessboard. But the point is to get this, like, okay, my first way that I described it is getting a dartboard into the opening of a gramophone.
It's Ball in a Cup 3D.
Yeah.
And then I called it later, getting a pizza into a tornado.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically you have to get like a disc into a wormhole sort of thing.
Yeah, and when you beat a level, you get like...
It makes you come, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They like all but say it. Like,
Yes, yeah. You get like a burst of serotonin.
And every time that you
Yeah.
video
Plus.
game come, the camera has to do an extreme close up on your face.
yeah.
It's very jarring. We'll
Yeah.
call it that.
Yeah.
The first time when Riker beat the level, I was like, should we be here for this?
Yeah.
Should we be watching this? I was like, do you need a minute? This feels like too intimate
Yeah.
for a TV show. Oh, I wrote, is this going to be the video games are dangerous episode? No, I was wrong. I was like, is this the era where they're like, video games make violence and kids are violent because of video games? But I guess that's way later, because I was like, what are video games in the early 90s?
Yeah.
Is that still Pong?
Okay, wait. No, you are partially right. So the
Pong made
No,
everybody violent.
it's not the violence in video games one. That was more mid to late 1990s. But it was the, kids these days are all addicted to video games, and video games are clearly Satan's work because they're taking kids away from church. Keeping in mind that the social conservatives of the 1980s were very much against any new social trends, and they had a lot of power back then. This would have been... this episode was released in year 11 of a straight Republican presidency. So, like, yeah, extremely social conservative view that was considered almost benign. Like, there were so many people that were just like, yeah, I guess they kind of have a point. And they just kind of let it go, and they didn't think too much about it. Rather than arguing against it, they were just like, no, it's like, whatever. And so, like, this episode kind of pisses me off for that, because I really enjoy watching it. I think it's fun, but holy shit, the whole idea of it is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, this
is a wild episode.
It's the 90s version of, like, everyone be addicted to their phone. Like, and I looked up some notable video games that came out in 1991, just to give you an idea. So,
nice.
Sonic the Hedgehog, Street Fighter 2, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Battletoads came out in 1991, Final Fantasy 4.
Nobody cared about Final Fantasy in North America yet.
Yeah, because that's... I don't know if that's the North American 4 or the Japanese 4.
That would be the Japanese 4.
Because the numbers were different.
The North American...
Yeah. Super Castlevania 4 came out. Duke Nukem came out in 1991.
Wait, no.
Mega Man 4.
Okay. A little bit of clarification. That's not the Duke Nukem that everyone knows. That was a weird platformer that featured Duke Nukem. Yeah, it was not good.
Okay. Action 52 came out in 1991.
Great.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Oh, on this list, it also says Microsoft Free Cell.
Holy shit, Free Cell? Yeah, that would have been in Windows 3.1, I guess, at the time.
Yeah. Another Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah. NHL Hockey.
Whoa.
Terminator 2 video game, apparently.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So, it's like, it's not... there were some video games, like, at that point, like some pretty significant ones.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the recap.
Yeah, so that was a video game corner.
Yes. Okay, so now they're on their way to Riker's back on the ship. Now they're on their way to an uncharted area called Phoenix Cluster. And they've only got 2 weeks to explore instead of the 5 initially promised, because they have to do a diplomatic mission. Nobody cares. But then Picard's like, I wrote, we have a special, the special return of Wesley Crusher.
Yay!
I'm sorry, it's also the special return of Robin Leffler, who we saw very briefly in like one scene.
Yes. I actually recognized her as Ashley Judd this time. I actually was like, yes, okay, I see it. That's Ashley Judd, for sure. And that's exclusively how I refer to her in all my notes, is Ashley Judd.
Because I think this was, like, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was, like, basically her big break.
Yeah.
It was, like, being on Star
Trek.
Great. Yeah.
She was
and
great
she
in
got
this
to be
episode.
Yeah, especially
she got
this
to be the
episode.
love interest of Mr. Wesley Crusher.
And it wasn't
No,
that
it was
cringy.
actually
No, I
pretty
thought they were
decent.
really cute.
I wrote it was pretty cute.
Yeah.
Okay, Picard Picard uses all of his acting skills to tell everybody that there's good news. Wes is on vacation. Okay, so now we see Ashley Judd, aka Robin Leffler. She is mission specialist. Okay, so we learn when they're going to the Phoenix cluster, they've got 15 science teams. I just wrote, that's a lot of nerds.
Yeah.
So Riker and Geordi are working. Okay. Riker's like, hey, Geordi, you got to play this game later. But it's like, Riker, he's fucking working. Like, we'll deal with this after.
I want to interject with something quickly. the kind of argument, well, not argument, but the dilemma that they're having in within the science teams about like people not having enough time with the deflector array and the other science things. That's a real thing.
Yeah,
no,
I can't be
that's a
bothered with
real
that.
thing that happens like now.
15 teams fight over
Well, okay,
the time to use one thing.
Let me give you a good
I
example of
can
this.
see that.
Because I just watched a real interesting video about it. There was a rush in the last like 70 years or so to try to find new elements for the periodic table. Something like 25, 30 of them were found in like the last 50, 60 years. Basically since the end of the Second World War. And because there were so few large particle accelerators that they could use to discover these new elements because of the process that they were using to discover them, the teams had to figure out what chemical they were going to bombard with what other chemical, and there was like an X% chance of it happening within a certain amount of time to create a new element. Or discover a new element. So what they ended up having to do was book their time with this particle accelerator, and when they were done, if they didn't find anything, bam, that sucks, on to the next team. And this is something that continually went on for years and years and years.
Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising. It's like anything when there's like, you have to do this thing and there's only like one or two like of the specialized equipment you need. I imagine it's pretty common to like have to fight over it,
especially
you know?
when you have lots of competing scientific groups. And in this case, this would have been in the United States that a lot of it was being done. So there are a lot of competing scientific groups, mostly in colleges and universities. A place where this is not happening right now is actually in Japan, because there aren't lots of competing scientific groups for it. The particle accelerator that they built is pretty much used by one group, and that's it, which is great because that means they get it all the time.
Cool. Okay, so now we cut to 10 forward. Riker walks in, and we see someone take a cherry from a chocolate sundae, and it's like, what? Why would you take it off the sundae? Anyways, so it's Troy. She likes ice cream sundaes. Because that's one of the few
Sadly,
defining
yeah.
characteristics that we know of her. And Riker is really, I just read, he's eyeing her or the sundae. I can't tell.
Can it be both?
Okay. Yeah, that's true. So Riker sits down and he's like, oh no, I think he's like, right over her shoulder. It's like chocolate ice cream, chocolate fudge, and chocolate chips. You're not depressed, are you? He's like, wow, I'm taking that real personally. And then Troy goes, I'm fine, Commander. And then Riker goes, would you like me to leave you two alone? And Troy goes, no, you can join us.
I just want to point out the dialogue is just really sharp between characters in this episode. I think that's one of the reasons I enjoy it so much.
Yeah, there are some like real funny parts in this. Okay, so then like Troy does this. I did not write it down because I was like, I would not be able to do this speech with a straight face. I would never be able to get through it. She does this wild speech about how she eats ice cream and like this sundae about like the fudge and the chocolate chips. I was like, girl, just spoon it and put it in your mouth. What?
Okay,
This whole process.
she's clearly being like purposely tantalizing towards him as like a joke flirty thing.
Oh yeah.
Because his face is hilarious. He is into this chocolate sundae talk.
Of course, and she
I
knows
don't know.
that.
It's hilarious. And I'm someone whose literally second word, or I guess second and third word, was ice cream.
Yeah.
I wish I was joking.
Although
but that literally.
To be fair, I do have a process for eating certain foods like that. Like I have like it's just it's better if you eat it in a certain way.
Yeah, I understand that. I eat a lot of things in a circle.
Yeah.
But
I like to mix up a lot of my food. If I'm having anything that involves mashed potatoes, eventually everything just gets incorporated into the potatoes.
You're a monster.
Yeah.
Just the way that she just like describes it all, that speech is so funny to me.
It is very.
Yeah. And then, yeah, she goes, chocolate is a serious thing. And then Riker's like, listen, I got this game thing. I said, I'm sorry. Riker thinks the game is better than chocolate. He is brainwashed.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember what she says, but then Riker's just like, it's just a game. And then Troy does a really creepy smile. I don't like it. Yeah, this game was like everybody was creepy. This was very culty.
The way that they're spreading the game around is definitely like insidious, I would say.
It's very
Yeah.
But it does kind of go from 0 to 100 at one point, which we'll get to.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild. Okay, so now we get to see Wes. Welcome back. He's like a grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, his balls dropped. Woo!
And oh, boy. So okay. So he arrives on the transporter room, and O'Brien's like, oh yeah, Molly, his baby daughter, is looking more like her dad. And I'm like, that's not great for Molly. You just burned your daughter so hard. That's like mean. Wow. She should look like man, her mom's beautiful. Like, I hope she like nobody should have to look like O'Brien.
Hey.
No, I'm joking. He's
You're
not
a
bad.
terrible
He's not
person,
bad. I'm
Dory.
just listen. I never said I was a good person. Keep that in mind.
Fair enough.
No, O'Brien's not bad. He's fine. I'm just being
Yes.
an asshole. But also, like, you want her to look like her mom versus her dad. Let's be honest. Her mom's like gorgeous, so like. Okay, so then Wes shows up and O'Brien's like, oh yeah, their like senior staff is in a meeting. And then Wes is like, I'd like to interrupt this meeting to go say hello.
Yeah.
Because he was told to like go to Dr. C's room. But he's like, I'd like to interrupt this meeting. And so then O'Brien's like, okay. And like calls in like, hey, Worf, Wesley wants to pop in and say hi. And Worf's like, okay. And so then he walks into this dark room, and I was like, what the fuck is happening here? Because here's the thing. They were in the dark for so fucking long before finally they were like, surprise! We knew you would want to interrupt our meeting.
Yeah.
And then, oh yeah, Wes also sounds like happier to see Picard than
He
Dr.
is.
C. And this exchange killed me. Everybody had their like 2 cents and shit to put in. This whole bit like killed me. So him and Picard are saying a couple things in Latin. I'm like, whatever. Picard goes, your Latin has improved. Then Troy goes, you're looking very handsome. And then Dr. C goes, you really do that cadet uniform justice, Wesley. And then Geordi goes, I bet you're driving all the girls wild. And then Worf goes, Wesley, Turvock pound cake.
Yeah.
I made it myself. And then Wes goes, thanks, Worf. And then Data goes, Wesley, was our attempt to make you uncomfortable effective? And Wes goes, you bet it was. For a second there, I thought I was on the wrong ship. This was so weird. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't understand why they did this.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either, to be honest.
I was like, okay, everybody's just being weird and like saying hello, but then when Data was like, did we do a good job of making you uncomfortable? And I was like, wait, but this all seems like things all these people would say.
Yeah.
He specifically means uncomfortable regarding like once he got on the ship in the first place.
Yeah, I think what they were trying to do is trying to make it seem like everyone was being cold when he got on the ship.
Like nobody gave a shit that he was there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they meant this whole exchange
No.
uncomfortable. Because I was
Yeah.
like, it almost made me uncomfortable. This was really weird. Okay, so then Riker's like, Wes, I know you're on vacation, so I guess you're going to sleep, then holodeck. I'm like, yes, classic vacation activities. Okay, so then Troy is like, hey, Dr. C, I'd like to show you something. I was like, no.
Oh shit, he's gonna show her the game.
Yep. And okay, so then like Data and Wes are walking down the hallway and they're talking about school and shit. And Data's like, oh yeah, I was good in school, but he was the victim of many practical jokes. And I hate that. I'm sure I must have said it on here at some point. I hate practical jokes.
Yeah.
I hate them with all of my heart. I hate them. So it makes me angry that people would play practical jokes on Data because, like, we know he probably didn't do anything back. So, like, Data just was like, well, I guess people are just doing shit to me, and I fucking hate that. Because it's mean. I don't like practical jokes in any way. The closest to a practical joke I thought was funny is my brother used to send me text messages on April Fools years ago that just said, I'm pregnant. And that's the closest I get to practical jokes. That's the best.
That's pretty funny.
Everything else is terrible. Okay. So also we learned that Wes is also got pranked. He got mud showered. Some kid named Adam rigged the shower to spray mud on him, but Wes got him back in a way that I don't really understand.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's confusing. They do mention it later, which I have it in my notes. So when we get there, I'll mention it, but I'm confused. But yeah, Wes is like, yeah, I got him back good though. And Data's like, okay, good for you. He just like makes his face. Like,
yeah.
Okay. So then they start talking about the Sadie Hawkins dance. Is this an exclusive American thing? Because I have never actually seen this in real life.
I think it is an American
Yeah, it is an American thing.
I've only seen it in like American TV shows.
I've actually heard a bunch of criticism for the episode mentioning it at all. I know that they're trying to make it be like, oh, it's a school thing, but like, why would a dance in that form still exist when like sexism has apparently been overcome?
What is the Sadie Hawkins dance? Is that like the one where it's like
when
the girls
ask
boys?
the guys? Yeah. But here's my other question. Isn't the academy basically like university? Are there dances in university that I just don't know about?
I think when we were in college, they had dances, but it wasn't in the same way as like high school. Like it's just like, hey, there's going to be a party, and then it's like, or like this club has organized this event. Sort of thing. Because
like I mostly went to like events for our program.
Yeah.
But then I also did go to like, I think I just never went anything dance related. I don't think I also paid attention.
Yeah.
That much for stuff at school.
Yeah.
Outside of what we were doing.
Yeah. I think actually the academy might be more akin to high school because I think you go when you're like 16 or something.
So here's the thing about this. A lot of like television depiction of university college is absolutely nothing like what we've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in our case, we live in Canada, so that's part of it. But we also live in a major city.
Yeah.
So there's a difference there in terms of the dynamics that you'll get and the kind of stereotype that you see of like what college university is, especially in American media, is very much focused on there's a big state university that a ton of people go to. Mm-hmm. Now, there might be like one or two other schools, but they're spread out across that state. And this represents a pretty large chunk of American states. Not all of them, obviously, because places like New York or California need a lot more schools than that for the amount of people that are there. Mm-hmm. But a lot of them will have like 3 or 4 schools because the population of that entire state is like the population of Toronto. And we have like 4 or 5 schools, major schools here, and then other colleges on top of that. And I think that this kind of like small town, everyone's from a different place, everyone is away from home. Not just like my parents are across town, but like I am a good 4-hour drive from where I live, minimum, that sort of thing. It creates a very different dynamic for students.
But I think that's even more prominent in Canada because it's not like we only have like a few we have a bunch of universities located in Toronto, but like the distribution throughout the country is even more like centralized than it is in the States.
No,
like,
but
there's no like
but the populations being more centralized has a lot to do with it. In the United States, the populations aren't quite as centralized. Like
it's more spread out.
Yeah, it spread my mind. It blew my mind.
What I mean is that sorry to interrupt, but what I mean is that in Canadian universities, I feel like you have even more people who are like far away from home.
You actually have less of them because
I mean...
the major populations in Canada are much more consolidated, and there's a lot less people coming from further away because of it. So
yeah,
but are there dances?
that's a great question. I mean, there are school things like that, but it's also worth considering that things like frats and whatnot are pretty heavily frowned upon in Canada. So like the kind of
even though we do
fair.
we do have fraternities, but they're nothing like in the States.
No, they can't be. There's actually a lot of rules against it.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that like the way like in the States, I've noticed that it really matters where you went to school.
Yes, it does.
Like there was a whole like sort of like tribalism thing behind like which school you went to. And like in Canada, that's not a thing.
Well, it's not that
right?
it isn't a thing. It
like,
depends
like,
on.
Well,
I think there's
not
just
in...
different connotations with different schools.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like one's better than the other. It's just like, oh, you went to Laurier, like whatever thing.
It's not this.
Like you went to Queens.
Yeah, there's some of that in Canada, but not in the same way as in the States.
It's exclusively
and then
what do you call it? It's exclusively like a higher like business kind of thing, where it matters.
Yeah, it's like here's the thing in Canada, if you went to like, there's like levels of prestige. Like I think like that's gonna happen in any like sort of academia, but it doesn't matter as much the specifics. It's like, you know, if you went to U of T or McMaster, like. Those are both universities that like sort of have different specialties and stuff, but ultimately it's like they're both pretty similar levels of prestige, and no one's going to be like, oh, like I'm sure amongst themselves, like, you know, people are like, oh, you went to U of T, oh, you went to McMaster, like that sort of shit. It's not the same as like, oh, like fuck you, Florida State, like I went to fucking. You know, UCLA or some shit, you know, like it's much different. It's like here it's like, okay, did you go to a good enough school? And I feel like in the States it's a little bit more specific.
Fuck you, Florida State,
you know?
I went to Florida County, U. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then it gets even deeper when you get into like frats and stuff, because like, especially at like the higher levels of society, it's like, oh, are you like a Delta Kappa Gamma, or are you like a Delta Alpha like Omega? Like, you know, that shit matters down there. It does. Yeah, it does. Like, if you were in a frat in like Canada, that's like a footnote. Like, no one gives a shit what frat you were in or what sorority.
I'd also like
in.
to point out that a lot of this, it may not necessarily be heavily steeped in what happens in the U.S. as much as it's heavily steeped in American media culture, because that's where we see all of this. No,
because I interact with a lot of Americans a lot of American culture, like through my job, because like I work in sports media, so we actually cover like college football and shit, and I have coworkers who are American or at least grew up in America, or like have American family members. So it really is a thing that it really matters where you went to school. And like
that's really
yeah, and there's this whole thing too where it's like in families, it's like if your dad went to this university, and it's like it's you know, it can look it can be a little frowned upon if you go to like a competing school or whatever. Like,
Okay.
it's like, I doubt if your parents went to like fucking U of T, right? And you're like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking go to McMaster. Because those are the only two like high-end universities I can think of right now.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
not
fair.
gonna. That's I really doubt that that's gonna be like that. They're gonna care. Where
No.
it's like, even in the States, if it's like, if you're like Ivy League, it's like, well, I went to Harvard, and like your parents went to Harvard, and it's like you decide to go to Yale. Like, it's a little bit more of a bigger deal.
Yeah, that's true.
You're disowned.
Yeah.
You'll be disowned.
Yeah.
How dare you go to Yale?
Yeah, like I don't think it's that levels. Like, it depends on how shitty your family is, but I feel like it's like it's of note, right? Like, if you're in the States, if your parents went to Florida U, like Florida State U, and you decide to go to fucking like Michigan State, like that's something that's of note.
Yes,
Right?
that's true.
Whereas like in like whether that like makes an actual difference or not is like neither here nor there. It's just like that's a significant thing to notice or
Yes.
like to make note of. In Canada, that just doesn't. It's not like that. It's like if you went to
You're still a nerd no matter where you go.
yeah, it's like if you go to
You
like
find some way to make fun of any school that everybody goes to.
yeah, it's like, oh, I went to Laurier, or like, oh, I went to Humber, or oh, I went to George Brown. Like, no one really cares.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, what level of prestige is that school known for? You know, and the terminology is a bit different too, because in Canada it's like college is like, you know, seen as less prestigious. It's seen as like more practical and like a little bit more accessible and stuff. And then university is what we refer to as like the more high-end academic sort of level of
Well,
things. Where in the States,
I mean, in fairness, that
it's
is
like-
that is accurate. Like, academia is focused around university. The sciences are focused around university. Here.
yeah. I'm just trying to explain the difference in terminologies. Because in the States, the terminology is different.
Yeah, I know,
Because
I know.
saying
Yeah, they call everything college.
yeah, they call everything
know.
college down there. And I think community college is a different thing
Yes.
too. And then it makes a difference if you go to a state school versus an Ivy League school versus like thing. There's just so many more tiers in the States, it
Yes.
feels like.
Well, the States love to categorize things unnecessarily.
Yeah. Well, we've done a lot of University Corner, and we still haven't figured out if there's dances.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna go with yes, purely because of the amount of dances they had in Community.
Yeah.
That there must be some basis for that. So we're gonna go with yeah. I guess there's dances, but Sadie Hawkins. Okay, whatever. I'll move on.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, oh yeah, Westlake is like, oh, I'm not much of a dancer, but Data's like, listen, I'll teach you to dance. Your mom taught me to dance. And he's like, oh, you had the dancing doctor? And then Data goes, I would be happy to teach you dancing. I have programmed a comprehensive 17-part course with some interesting holographic partners. Listen, I would take this course in a heartbeat. Mostly because I would love to know who the interesting holographic partners are.
Yeah.
Who would Data have picked? I am very curious.
I'm assuming they're trying to imply it's like hot ladies. I'm assuming that's what they're trying to say. But it
Okay,
could be
well,
wrong.
that's-
You have to take the class to find out.
Yeah, listen, Data. Where's the sign-up sheet? Let's see what's going to happen. I'm also a terrible dancer. I have no rhythm. I like to dance, but I am not good at it.
Do you have guilty feet? Sorry.
I think more ashamed than anything. what did I write? I just wrote Wes can't. Oh, okay. So he goes down to engineering and he like can't do shit on the computer. So Ashley Judd is like, just manually calibrate that shit. And Wes is like, what? But the computer's supposed to do it for me. And then she's like, or you could just calibrate it manually and it takes 5 seconds. So then they shake each other's hand they introduce each other to each other, and then they shake each other's hands for way too long. She's very cool. I like her. I like Ashley Judd. Wes also thinks she's cool, so good job, Wes. Data. Oh, so it also turns out that like Ashley Judd has like friends at the academy, so she's kind of already heard like some shit about Wes. I was like, oh, does his reputation precede him? Probably not.
It kind of did though.
Yes and no, but listen, I'm a Wes fan, so like I'm here for this very adorable interaction. Okay, so then, oh no, Data tells Geordi 2 nerd groups are fighting over who gets to do a thing first. And Data's like, Geordi, I think, is like, oh, why don't they flip a coin? And Data's like, okay, I'm gonna go get some coins.
Yeah.
And Geordi's like, no, Data. It was so funny. So then Dr. C calls Data into sickbay. And I just wrote, it better not be related to this game or so help me God. So Dr. C's like, Data, I need to do a thing, but it's actually just a ruse so she can knock him out. And then she very creepily lets Riker and Troy in. They open Data's head and like fuck around in there, and I did not like it. Also, the like weird Data's hair tuft from like the back of his like head was really weird.
Actually quite love that effect. I have kind of like a emotional attachment to it, I guess. I don't know, every time that I see it I'm just like, that effect's funny.
Well, no, like the effect looks fine, just like the hair tuft looks really weird. Okay, so now like Wes is having some tea with Picard, and he's like, oh yeah, I met Boothby.
Yeah, Boothby. Can't forget Boothby.
Yeah, of course, God forbid. And Picard's like, oh, I hope he didn't tell you any crazy stories about me. And Wes is like, okay, here's what happened in this scene for me. So then Wes is like, oh, Boothby doesn't remember you.
Picard looked
and I
shut
just wrote,
down.
oh, how embarrassing for Picard. Because I paused it.
Yeah.
Because I paused it there and was like, oh shit, I need to watch that again. So then I backed it up a few seconds, let it play again, and then the scene continued. And I was like,
it's a fake out.
Oh, never mind. I guess not so embarrassing for Picard, because then Wes immediately is like, oh yeah, at first. But then he saw a picture of you and was like, oh yeah, the guy who wrote AF on my tree. So Wes was like, who's that? And apparently Picard failed organic chemistry because of AF. I was trying to like, no, we don't know who AF is. But something that I did want to circle back to at some point is the fact that Wes said that he was taking creative writing. Mm-hmm. I would love to know what they're teaching in creative writing at the academy and see what these kids are writing, because I have a feeling it's probably hilarious unintentionally.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. Then Dr. C calls Picard to sickbay, and she's like, look, Data's in a coma. We don't know how this happened. What? And then Geordi's like, there's no evidence of anything that could lead to Data's shutdown. And then Riker goes, maybe we should ask his cat. Oh, poor Spot. Where the fuck is Spot during this? Poor Spot. This is all getting like real culty at this point. I do not like it. Riker is like, oh, by the way, Geordi, Dr. C has got like, can take care of Data, but have I got something for you? Meet me in 10 forward. And I was like, I hate it. Okay. So, so then like this is when Ashley Judd's like, yeah, I know some people at the academy. She's heard all the hot goss about Wes. And okay, so then she says, okay, so Wes's retaliation to the guy who gave him a mud shower is she's like, how did you get the antimatter regulator to spray chili sauce? Like, that feels dangerous. I don't know what it means, but it feels very dangerous. Like, that feels more dangerous than mud shower. But listen. So, oh, also, apparently Wes has some remarkable birthmark. I do not want to hear more about it, though.
Yeah.
I do not need to know. Okay, yeah, they're very cute. He wants to, like, get to know her. Okay, because, like, so Ashley Judd does this thing where she's got these laws that she wrote that she follows. There's, I think, 103 or 102, and then they add 103 at the end, something like that. And so, like, she knows also, like, she, like, lists her laws, like, when it's applicable. She's like, hey, Wes, like, law 37, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of, it's fine. I'll allow it.
It's like her personal rules that she lives by.
Yeah. So, oh yeah. So, like, she knows stuff about him because she's heard the hot goss, but he doesn't know very much about her. So he's like, maybe, like, later we should, like, meet for coffee. And she's like, oh, no, but I'm good for dinner though. And I was like, oh,
Someone's got a date.
damn, that was very smooth. Good job, Ashley Judd. Okay, so then, like, oh, Dr. C is having, like, too good of a time with the game. I don't like this game.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. And it's bad. Okay, so then Wes goes into her quarters to, like, get ready for his date, and Dr. C is like, yeah, bring her over, we'll play the game. I'm like, yeah, that's what every teenage boy wants, is to have his first date with the woman, with his mom.
Yeah.
And playing a game with his mother.
Fair. We don't know if it's his first date.
No, with her.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, fair.
Yeah, no, I don't know, first date in general. I mean, he dated the Wookiee, right? Technically, but no, his first date with Ashley Judd. So I was like, maybe not Dr. C, but yeah, she also just, like, really wants him to play the game, and he's like, no, like, later, Mom. Okay, so now we're in 10 forward. Wes, I completely forgot about Wes's sweater game.
Oh, yeah.
I completely forgot. He's now wearing a blue sweater with some really intense shoulder pads. It's fun. I'll allow it. I truly, though, man, I forgot about his, like, how much of an impact his old sweaters made on me when we started the show. Wesley, the boy, and his sweaters, but this seemed tame, but it's fine. Ashley Judd, on the other hand, okay, she's wearing, like, a coral dress with, like, a little, like, chest cutout thing and, like, coral tights. She looks great. Big fan. Yeah, so, okay. I just wrote in my notes, this game is the Pokemon Go of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
It really takes off and just keeps going. It's like, sorry, this is like, it's not even a side note, but one of the few things I will take away from the 2016 election time is Hillary Clinton going, Pokemon, go to the polls. And truly, that unfortunately, like, has stayed with me, and I think will stay with me for the rest of my life.
I was
is Pokemon go to the polls.
I was trying to come up with a Pokemon go to the joke about this episode, but I just didn't get there.
I think my favorite part about that quote is how, like, deliberately awful she says it. Like, she goes out of her way to enunciate every word, and it makes it even more cringeworthy.
It's incredible. It's iconic.
Yeah.
Put it on my gravestone.
As bad as it is, I think there's one particular somewhat recent moment in Canadian politics that just slightly beats that, and that's sad because, like, God knows I love paying attention to American politics. It is a fucking... It's a show, is what it is. It's a comedy that is, like, 4 seasons past needing being canceled, and it is so beautifully off the rails. Guys, I'm sorry, your entire political system is an absolute disaster, but holy shit, is it funny to watch. Okay, so in Canada, very rarely do we get moments that are as entertaining as American politics. Canadian politics is not nearly as exciting. It's mostly quite tame. The worst things that we get are like somebody slips up with what they were saying and it sounded a little goofy. But we had a leader of a third party here called the NDP, and this leader was not hugely popular with the party. He was like popular enough to become leader of the party, but nobody really thought he was going to win. His name was Thomas Mulcair, and
I know exactly what you're
yeah.
talking about.
Mulcair was doing one of those what do you call it? Yeah,
Town
there we go.
halls,
He was doing a
I
town
think.
hall, and he sat there, he stood there with this really big smile on his face. And Mulcair already, he was kind of known as like the angry guy in Parliament, because he was like really yelly and shouty about things, but he's got this smile on that does not suit his face at all. It's almost a little bit creepy, and he says, "Healthcare, pharmacare, childcare, Mulcair."
Yeah.
Fuck's sakes, no wonder he lost.
Yeah. It sucks too, because he was like, they took a guy who was known to be like very defiant and like opinionated and aggressive in Parliament, and they tried to make him be like this like friendly
Yes.
political figure to get elected. And it's like, man, that's like the opposite. You should have leaned in to the
Yeah,
way he
it was
acted
not
in
a good
Parliament.
decision. But, I mean, hey, that's what
Yeah.
they went with. And, I mean, they weren't going to pick another leader who would have won in Quebec anyway. Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
aside from Canadian politics.
Yeah, and if anyone doesn't know, he took over for a guy who was like insanely popular, like crazy popular. So it was a
Yeah, he got the NDP their most successful running.
so it
in
was
all
a
of
lot
Canadian
to live
history.
up to.
Oh, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
on with the episode, I think, because we're still not done explaining
Well,
what
to be fair,
happened.
there's a lot of shit that goes down in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so then like Ashley Judd and Wes go to do like experiments on the game to see what it does. And everybody's just like playing the game around them. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. Because they're
okay,
all like
so,
making like orgasm noises and stuff. It's really weird and
these are-
uncomfortable.
It's like does Starfleet have like HR, because I feel like everybody's gonna need it.
Yeah.
And therapy. So Troy better open up her schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently it's like the game is fucking around with the prefrontal cortex, which controls higher reasoning. So
Prefrontal.
yeah, isn't that what I said?
I heard prefrontal.
Oh, yeah,
It's okay.
prefrontal. Okay, so then it's like psychotropically, that I might fuck up pronounce it.
No, you said that right.
Addictive. Cool. So it's psychotropically addictive. So they go tell Picard, and he's like, yes, I will absolutely open an investigation. In your dreams. Oh no, it's too late. Picard's already playing the game. So now O'Brien asks Ashley Judd if she's tried the game yet, and she's like, oh yeah, like hard pass.
Yeah.
No thanks. And then it occurred to me, where is Guinan? Because Guinan would not get sucked into this game. Same with Roe. I would think Ensign Roe would also be like, no, fuck no this game.
That's why they had to
So-
keep them away from this episode.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like people who wouldn't give in to this. Okay, so then like Ashley Judd and Wes find Data, and they're like, oh, they realize like he is like wouldn't have been affected by this stuff. So they find him, his lines have been cut by gas by their Geordie or Dr. C.
Oh,
But which one of them Oh, what did I miss?
No, never mind. You didn't. I just wasn't paying attention.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say you skipped over them nerding out together and examining the device, but you very much talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
A date to the science lab.
Yeah. So like, oh, maybe there's more to this game than fun. Perhaps cult-ish. Ooh. So, okay. So then the Enterprise encounters another ship, and they're like, "Yep, we're gonna." Oh, so Picard. Oh, okay. They're gonna like distribute the game to other ships. I'm like, oh yeah, because. Is this when they reveal? Whatever. I'm going to reveal it. So that lady Atana with the incredible hair from the first scene who was playing sexy Marco Polo with Riker. Yeah, she's behind it. She's like wants to take over or whatever. And the game is what's going to like truly a wild concept for like domination is like, hey, everybody, I got a really great idea. Hear me out. What if we get everybody brainwashed into playing a game? And yeah, so they're like, okay, we're gonna do that. And then, okay, everybody's like leaving the bridge, but Picard stays on it and looks right into the camera for almost 12 full seconds. Because I timed it because it was weird. Okay, it's at about like 31 minutes and 58 seconds. If anyone's interested in looking it up, I did not care for it. I did not like this direct eye contact with Picard. So, okay, Dr. C then finds, they're like, oh, we gotta, like, see with, Wes. So they find Wes and Ashley Judd. They're wearing the headsets and breathing heavily like creeps. Oh, they're on his, like, the bed, like, just, like, facing each other, pretending to play the game. So then Ashley Judd's like, oh, yeah, I have to go back to work and engineering. I'm like, oh, yeah, you guys are technically working.
Yeah.
Well, Wes isn't, but she has a job still. Oh, sorry. This is when Atana, like, reveals herself. So she's like, okay, you guys are going to distribute the game. And then, oh, no, we find out Ashley Judd got gamed. And so now this is like, now it's the chase is on. They got to get Wes. He's the last outstanding person. So Riker and Worf are chasing him. Honestly, this is kind of genius. Like, Wesley's just like transporting around the ship and shit, and like going into like tunnels and setting up a decoy with the phaser. And then these two guys, because like Wesley just like aims this phaser at the wall and just like runs away. And so these two guys find the phaser and stare at it like they approach it like, oh my God, we've never seen a phaser be aimed at a wall before. And then I just was like, man, this is like a horror movie at this point. It's like kind of intense. So Wes is like going through tunnels, and then, oh no, it's Worf. He tries to turn around. Oh no, it's Riker. So then they get him out of there and they force the headset onto him. And then this was fucking terrible. They like force his eyeballs open.
Ooh, yeah.
And he is forced to play the game, and it is terrible. I do not like it. But then the power goes out, and then surprise, it's Data, and he's here to start a rave. He just holds this light and it just like flashes in like a kind of like pattern thing, which kind of wakes everybody up. And I was like, yeah, you guys all owe us a huge apology. Yeah. And everybody deserves lots of therapy. So then Atana's like, hey, what the fuck happened, Picard? There's other ships coming over. You need to distribute them. Picard's like, we're gonna blow you out of the sky because you don't have shit on your ship. So bye. So as it turns out, Wes was able to fix Data, and then he like bought Data some time with like the running around the ship and to keep them distracted. So Data could like reprogram the rave for everybody else in the ship, so everybody could participate in this party. And then, oh yeah, but then like the alien ship is under arrest or whatever. Meh. And then, yeah, like Wes, that's like it for Wes's vacation. It was like 2 days.
Well, I think they just sort of time skipped over like.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Hopefully he had a nice rest of his vacation. So then he's packing up to leave. Another ship is coming by to take him back to the academy. And Ashley Judd is holding up like little shorts. It's so funny. She's like, oh, does this reveal your birthmark? And I'm like, please, we don't need to talk about his birthmark. We don't need to know.
Yeah.
Let's leave that as a cliffhanger that we never need to resolve. For once I'm asking Star Trek, do not tell me something.
Yeah.
Withhold this information and then promptly forget. Okay, thanks. Yeah, okay, so they're very cute. What she's like, Wes, you better write to her or else. And I was like, yes, do it. And then she gives him her like 101 Robin's Laws book, and it's so cute. And then Wes is like, law number 103. And he goes, a couple of light years can't keep good friends apart. Ah! It's very cute. The last line I wrote just was cute, exclamation mark.
Although it kind of weirded me out that he called them good friends. It's like,
Yeah,
they
I made a
kissed,
note
like,
of that
what,
because
3,
that was
4
a
times?
real
yeah,
long
it's like
kiss.
you're dating. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he meant like good in quotations.
Yeah.
But yeah, this honestly, like, it was fucking wild, but I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this episode. It was fun.
Yeah, sort of the main plot, like, I don't give a shit about, but I really liked the sort of the little cute, like, love story with Wesley.
Ashley Judd.
Judd, yeah.
Yeah, they were fun. It was nice to see Wes again. Oh, he's like a little grown up. Mm-hmm. He's like a person. And it was nice seeing him, like, he's like more confident in himself, and I like that he's still such a nerd.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if he somehow gets popular in school, I'm gonna lose it. Thankfully, he didn't become popular in
He's
school.
going
fair,
to
yeah.
nerd school, so.
Yeah, the nerd hierarchy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still nerding it up,
And I really liked
for him.
Yeah, I liked that they bonded over their nerdiness. Like, I thought that was really cute.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that
because
he...
she's like very smart.
Yeah, like because, like, you know, I'm so used to, like, you know, a woman shows up a man and then he, like, is frustrated by it. But, like, no, he's into it. He's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
When she's like, you have to you can calibrate it manually, and he's like, what? But the computer, and she's like, no, you can just do it manually. And then he's like, oh shit, you can calibrate it manually.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, look at her go. She's doing her job.
Yeah.
She's good at it. I know, Wes.
And, like, he doesn't get, like, he doesn't take it as an insult. He's just, like, impressed. He's like, wow. And, like,
Yeah.
I like that they're both into each other, because, like, it's not just Wes, like, pining after someone. It's, like, she's equally as into it.
Yes.
Because, like,
yes,
even
I
after
did
their
like that.
first meeting, like, when she's walking away, she sort of, like, doubles back to, like,
yeah,
take a
I
second
remember
look
that
at him.
shot.
And, like, I thought that was very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just cute in general. This was like a fun episode, and I like that they, like when they like took the game to like analyze it and stuff. They're like, oh, that nerdy thing and that nerdy thing. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck anyone's talking about, but you
But they
nerds are
seem
having
like
a
they're
great
having
time.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I think, yeah, for me, there's not much to talk about with this episode. It's like, yeah, it was just kind of like a fun, like, Wes gets to save the ship and have, like, a little love interest, cute thing, sort of deal. And sort of the main plot of it, like, I feel like the episode itself doesn't even really care about it. It's just like a means to an end, you know? It just to have this little story, and it's like, oh, they were trying to take us over with the video game that makes you come. Like, okay, that's weird.
You know what I
but
just
whatever.
thought of, though? Because, like, Ashley Judd was, like, so aware of what was happening with the game. How did they get her to play the game?
I think...
I'm concerned.
Well, I think the whole thing is that she, like, was faking it. Isn't that the whole thing?
No, I think by the end, she actually was, like, playing the game. Because that's why he, like, doesn't stay with her. I think because she, like, actually was playing the game at that point.
Oh, okay.
So I'm, like, concerned of how she ended up playing the game. Like, was it forced onto her?
I think probably, because, I mean, it showed that they tried to force Wesley to play it.
Yeah, man. the violence.
Yeah. I also
between coworkers.
Also, this episode is like a very like just a Deus Ex Machina deal. Like just Data just kind of pops in at the end to be like plays
Party.
plays little light show, and then yeah.
We're just like play Sandstorm when Data's splashing those lights, and we got a party.
Yeah.
I bet that's got to be a video on YouTube. If not, I'm going to make it.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
If there isn't, okay, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to put it on our Instagram for the very outside of the one time a week that I remember to post.
Yeah.
God, now I gotta do it. Oh no. No, I do want to do it.
Jeff, is there any interesting like background stuff for this episode?
Well, this is the first episode in the series that was flat out written by Brennan Braga, oddly enough.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so Braga came on in the beginning of the previous season, and he was a staff writer / intern, but while he was doing teleplay stuff for them, he wasn't doing any like actual writing yet. Mm-hmm. And this was a script that had actually been kicking around through a couple of different writers since the last season, and they ended up thinking that it really had no hope. And when Braga took it, he made something interesting of it, I'd say. This really showcases, I think, Brennan Braga's better writing skills, because like the episode is not deep. It's not meant to be deep. Mm-hmm. The story, I already talked about my problems with it that have to do with social issues that were going on at the time, but it's a tight script. It's got really fun dialogue. There really aren't any parts that like lull or get dull, which is great. The new character that they work with, they do a great job with her. Bringing back Wesley, they do an excellent job with. They actually make him seem like more grown up and whatnot, like he's changed a little bit since going to the academy, which is good because he's been away for like a year now. Mm-hmm. So I in general really like this episode, and if I were a new watcher, I would say, wow, I really look forward to what this Brennan Braga is going to bring to the series.
Oh, that's so weird, because I was just going to say, I look forward to whatever Brennan Braga is going to bring to the series.
Okay, wait, Dory, to be fair...
What a weird coincidence.
To be fair, you should absolutely look forward to what he has to bring in TNG. A lot of his TNG output is absolutely fantastic. He's a very good writer. The problem is, he stuck with Star Trek so long and raised so high in the ranks that he just had nothing left.
Yeah, it's. I think Brennan Braga is like a classic example of like one
a little too close to the sun.
Yeah, one yes, probably by that point maybe ran out of ideas, but I think it's one of those points that like not every good writer makes a good showrunner.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of what happened with Brennan Braga.
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, I look forward to whatever he's bringing next to Star Trek.
Yeah.
No, you definitely should. There's some good content in TNG that he is very responsible for.
Oh, great! Mm-hmm. I love good content in TNG.
Yeah.
In fact, he's got I think 1 or 2 other episodes this season that stand out pretty well.
Ooh.
He's got a fucking excellent one next season, which is legitimately one of like the best of the series. Yeah.
Ooh.
And I won't tell you any more than that. There's also some really fucking stupid ones.
Well, I look forward to the good and the bad.
The one thing that I will mention, anytime that we come to an episode that deals with evolution in some way, and Brennan Braga is involved, oh boy, he doesn't.
Yeah. Is that
he doesn't
bad or
seem
good?
to understand what evolution is.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's bad.
Yeah. But not in a he's a like it's not a anti-evolution thing. It's just like you don't understand how this works.
He seems to think that evolution is like a predetermined genetic change that
Yeah, he thinks evolution has a fate.
We're not
I
Digimon.
am.
Yeah.
Gotta dig 'em all. Yes, thank you.
Digimon.
Well, I think unless anyone has anything else, let's move on to favorite moments and lines.
I liked. I thought Ashley Judd was amazing in this. So start that off. I enjoyed Riker. I fucking Troy's ice cream. Riker goes chocolate ice cream, chocolate fudge, and chocolate chips. You're not depressed, are you? That's rude. And also the absolute bizarre exchange when Wes goes into the conference room when Picard's like, your Latin has improved. You're looking very handsome. You really do that cadet uniform justice, Wesley. Mm-hmm. I bet you're driving all the girls wild. Wesley, Chekhovian pound cake. I made it myself. Yeah.
I also
shit
like
was fucking wild.
The emphasis that Worf puts on pound cake is like everything.
Worf's actually, his line was probably my favorite just because he was like, Wesley!
Yeah, because he like interrupts
Turbokian
too.
Pound cake! I made it myself!
Because Worf is like so hype. He's so excited for Wes to eat his pound cake. Like, it's very funny.
I just, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I like Data's dancing course.
Yes,
his comprehensive 17-part course with interesting holographic partners.
Yeah.
I love that.
And Will Wheaton is very handsome at this point in time.
He's like a little grown.
Yeah.
I liked the smoothness when Ashley Judd was like, oh no, I don't want to go for coffee with you, but I'll go to dinner. I was like, girl. Good for you. Wes is back in a sweater, so yay for that.
Mm-hmm. I like... Sorry, because I'm scrolling through the episode, because I watched this episode a few days ago. I'm scrolling through the episode to sort of remind myself of, like, what I liked. And I just noticed that, like, when he goes... when he's preparing for his date, he goes to the closet, and it's just... like 5 sweaters, and that's all. That's all that's
there's
in
like
the
nothing
closet.
in there. I like Wes like running the chase, and I love that Data saves the day with a rave.
Yeah,
with a we love a dance party. We love it when a dance party saves the day. There's just like a lot of good stuff in this.
Yeah. I liked the chemistry between Will Wheaton and Ashley Judd. I thought they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, agreed.
Definitely.
I liked their sort of conversation on their date, where you know, you kind of get like a little like insight into her character, where he's like, you know, it seems kind of lonely, because she reveals that like. She's like, oh, you can only rely on yourself. And, like, I think she had parents that, like, weren't around very much and stuff like that.
They were working a lot.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, that's like a cool insight into her character and stuff. And, yeah, I just thought they were nice together.
It was just cute. There was no cringe.
Yeah.
And we're not cringy, which is nice.
Yeah, and I liked that she was just, like, a competent, capable officer who was, like, allowed to have, like, a crush and date and, like, you know... Yeah, she was just allowed to be, like, cool and flirty and feminine and also be, like, good at her job. Which is, like, a low bar, but, like, we don't hit it very often.
Yeah, we love a 3-dimensional character.
Yeah. I think, Dory, you're so right. Like, the way, Wesley was, like, trying to run away and stuff was, like, really fucking clever and smart. Like, transporting around, setting the phaser to, like, shoot at the force field, like, independently and all that stuff. Like, he really gave them a run for their money.
I also, like, it's not like a super big or even like a good reveal, but I still liked that like he wasn't just running around just to like run around. He was literally doing it to buy time for Data. Because like up until this point, I would have been like, oh, okay. Like I would have just bought it that Wes was like running around trying to avoid them.
Yeah.
But then I was like, nope, he's doing this to, you know, give Data some time. And I was like, okay. We bringing it all together. Party. Literally. Oh no.
Yeah. All right. Time for predictions for the next episode. So the next episode, as discussed before we started recording, is part of a two-parter, which is the first time this has happened mid-season for us. All the other two-parters we've dealt with have been a finale and a first episode of the season. So we will be splitting this into two parts. It'll be two different podcasts for each part because both episodes kind of have different arcs. So the next episode is called Unification.
Oh.
And let me just...
Is it Unification?
It's actually
Part
just
one?
Unification
yes, it's
1.
Unification Part 1. Yeah.
Oh, Unification 1?
Well, on Netflix it says Part 1, so...
I mean,
my
they
God.
they are incorrect. It is called Unification 1.
All right. Yeah, so Unification 1. And so Picard and Data go on a little adventure together with Spock.
With Box.
Spock!
Oh. I was like, is this someone we've met? I was like, what the
No.
fuck is Box?
Okay, to be fair, they don't go with Spock.
Oh yeah, they're trying to find him.
Yes, they
Yeah.
go looking for Spock.
Okay,
Yes.
here's my prediction.
Search for Spock.
Data and Picard team up to go look for Spock.
Yeah. What do you think Spock is up to?
Unifying something.
What do you think he's trying to
Ooh,
unify?
Actually, I take that back. What if they are trying to like unify? Okay, maybe they're maybe like the okay. I'm fully going big here. Okay, maybe the unification is like the day or whatever where it's like made official when like a planet or a group becomes part of the Federation. And maybe there's like a group that like is scheduled to be like unified, but Spock is like, no, I don't think they should be part of this, and he's off to like stop it or find evidence against them. And then Picard and Data, like the Enterprise is supposed to be at this like thing to like support it, but then they're like, fuck, we gotta stop Spock, or at least find out what the hell he's looking for or what he's going for, so we can like, you know, figure some shit out, because he's gone a little bit rogue, so we gotta go after him just to figure out what's happening. Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm going for.
Okay. That's a neat idea. So
That sounds already like I'm wrong.
no, I mean Star Trek has neat ideas too.
True.
Do they? No, I'm kidding. They do.
All right. If you'd like to see if Dory's correct, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.